Hello, listeners, and welcome to another episode of Second Take Cinema, coming at you from the glorious Impala Films headquarters in sunny Southend-on-Sea. As always, we are your hosts, Jamie Evans and Rory Jocelyn.
Hello.
And today, we are going back to the year of 2011.
A simpler time.
A simpler time. I was 20 years old. 2011.
I was 25.
And we are reviewing Crazy Stupid Love. That's right, today we're talking about Crazy Stupid Love. It's a 2011 American romantic comedy film directed by Glenn Ficarra and John Requa, written by Dan Fogelman, starring Steve Carrel, Ryan Gosling, Julianne Moore, Emma Stone, Marisa Tomei, and Kevin Bacon. The film was made for a budget of $50 million and grossed $145 million.
Nice.
Gosling was nominated for a Golden Globe Award for Best Actor for his performance in this.
Okay.
On Rotten Tomatoes, the film has an approval rating of 79%, with the critical consensus reading, "It never lives up to the first part of its title, but Crazy Stupid Love's unabashed sweetness and its terrifically talented cast more than make up for its flaws." Owen Gleiberman of Entertainment Weekly called it nothing more or less than an enchanting, light comedy of romantic confusion. It's a movie that understands love because it understands pain. Only pain.
Only pain.
He gave it a grade of A. Roger Ebert gave Crazy Stupid Love 3 out of 4 stars and remarked that it's a sweet romantic comedy about good-hearted people. A.O. Scott of the New York Times gave the film 4 out of 5 stars and wrote Crazy Stupid Love is, on balance, remarkably sane and reasonably smart. Some reviewers were less favourable, such as Christy Lemire of the Associated Press, who wrote that it never gets crazy or stupid enough to make you truly fall in love with it, giving the film 2 out of 4 rating.
Hang on, is that?
Because the film's called Crazy Stupid
Yeah,
Love.
no, but like, would it be if Steve Carell was wearing a all
Hey,
over
Mr.
the place?
Marisa
Tomei was crazy.
Marisa Tomei is your crazy, isn't she?
Mrs. Tomei.
Jesus, I realise the alcohol had such strong effect. You're going to have to catch me up here, Rory. James Roche of MSN Movies was particularly critical, giving it 1 out of 5 stars and remarking that it's a star-studded Oh, fuck it up. Someone hurt this man. It's a star-studded lump of fantasy and falsehood.
He is the kid at the end, isn't he?
Dude,
love is pain.
Mate,
it doesn't exist.
This dude's wife slept with David Lindhagen.
Yes, she did.
David Lindhagen certainly took what he wanted, didn't he?
I think this critic watched this at the wrong time of his life.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Oh, well, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to get into that. But first, it's time to quiz Rory. And today, there's only 5 questions today.
Okay.
Because they're longer questions.
Okay.
And really, there was only one thing we could do for this. It's time to play 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Oh my god.
Bum. Right.
I don't have any degrees on Kevin Bacon yet,
Raw
but I
stuff.
will.
You do through Haunted.
Do I?
Yeah. I can't remember what they are. We'll have to ask Benton. He's the one who looked it up. But through Haunted, which starred Linda Clark, who's been in Doctor Who,
Yep.
that leads to Kevin Bacon in about 3 steps, I think it is.
So we are actually only 3 steps.
We are all. There is no one on Earth who is not connected. There are scientists living in there is an uncontacted tribe in like Senegal who know Kevin Bacon.
I can disprove this because there's a website for this, isn't there?
The Oracle of Bacon.
Yeah,
I'm accessing it right now so I can proof check all your things.
Okay. I looked up some people that were involved in seminal blockbuster Mr. Ice Cream Man, and it showed that they had no degrees on bacon. Is it 0 degrees? No, it's infinite, isn't it? 0 degrees on bacon is only Kevin Bacon himself, because he is Kevin Bacon. Infinite is where there is basically, it's so infinitesimal that they can't count it. Yeah, so they've got infinite number on bacon.
Are you ready?
Go on.
So I'm going to give you a name, and you need to connect Kevin Bacon to this actor.
Okay.
David Duchovny.
I'm not going to be able to do most of these. Can I just guess the number of steps?
No.
Because it's 2, isn't it?
It is 2.
I know it's pretty much everyone is 2 steps. Dude, I do not know enough about Duchovny or Bacon to do this.
To be fair, I think I've actually chosen a difficult one for the first one, because according to Oracle of Bacon, there is only one route to connect Duchovny to Bacon.
Is X-Files in there?
No. I have strung you up with this first one. I thought this would be easy, but it surprisingly isn't.
He murdered me, ladies and gentlemen. He has killed me. Oh, okay. I'm going to guess that it goes through Californication, but I could not tell you who.
It's only through movies.
Oh, it's literally just film.
It is through a film, yeah.
Evolution.
No, see, I thought it would be Evolution, and it isn't.
Like PJ and Duncan, obviously.
Oh, wait, hang on. You can do it through Evolution. I know one that the Oracle of Bacon doesn't know. You can do it using this film, actually.
PJ and Duncan.
No. Go back to Evolution.
Yeah.
So start with Evolution.
That's Duchovny.
Yeah. And who's in Evolution with him that is also in this film? I didn't think of that when I wrote the question.
Steve Carell's not in
No.
Evolution. Julianne Moore.
Julianne Moore is in Evolution.
Julianne Moore is in Evolution.
And she is in this film with Kevin Bacon.
Very well done, yeah.
Well done. You've got one already. Bloody hell, I made it too easy.
No, you didn't. You did most of the work on that one, I'll be honest. I mentioned Evolution, to be fair, though.
I'll still give you the point.
Yay. To be fair, these are hard.
Okay, up next. Emily Blunt.
What has Emily Blunt been in?
Loads of things. Come on, be reasonable here.
I've probably never seen any of them. No, I would have done. Emily Blunt. Name one film she's been in. Not necessarily the one
Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh, Christ, yes. Okay, fine. I've got a name to a face now. Face to a name, whatever.
Oh, God, I know how you can do it. Go on. Again, using this film.
Yeah. So...
I'm going to allow you to use TV shows because you can do this using a TV show.
Emily Blunt was in Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, she was.
Has Tom Cruise ever been in a film with Kevin Bacon? Because I'm fairly certain he has, but I can't remember which one.
In which case, you're going to... If he has, then you're going to do it quicker than I was going to do it.
Yeah.
He has. He has been in a film with Kevin Bacon.
It's an 80s film, isn't it? Or a 90s?
Early 90s.
Early 90s.
Very famous film. Also has Jack Nicholson in it, and it's got a line that's considered iconic in it. I actually quote this line a lot.
Is it Colour of Money?
No.
Not Days of Thunder?
No.
No?
That's 80s. Do you want me to be nice and tell you the line?
Yeah.
You can't handle the truth.
Oh, fuck, I've seen that. A Few Good Men.
A Few Good Men.
Yeah. So you go, Emily Blunt is in Edge of Tomorrow. She's with Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise was in
A Few Good Men with Kevin Bacon. Well done. You did it quicker than me. So I was going to do, Emily Blunt is married to and was in A Quiet Place with John Krasinski. John Krasinski was in The Office with Steve Carrel.
Right.
And Steve Carrell is in Crazy Stupid Love.
Nice. I'm
telling you, bacon gets everywhere. Vegetarians can try all they want, but you can't stop bacon. He even advertises at EE phones.
Yeah, I know.
People love Kevin Bacon.
Can you connect him through EE? I'll just phone him. No, what I've always wondered, though, is has he ever, run onto a sports field and taken all his clothes off? Because then he'd be streaky bacon.
We're going to move on. Connect him to Adam Sandler.
Maze. Adam Sandler. This one should be easy. Because Adam Sandler has worked with everybody. I'm fairly certain you could probably do a 2 degrees to Sandler too.
I'm going to give you a hint. you can do it through a film that we're going to cover on VGMP. In fact, by the time this comes out, we will have covered it on VGMP.
Kevin Bacon's not on Pixels, is he?
No, but you can do it through Pixels. Someone is in Pixels
Yes.
who was also in a film with Kevin Bacon. I believe they're only a cameo in Pixels. It's not one of the leads. It's someone who has a lot of cameos in Sandler films, though, because he's in I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry as well. Do you want me to give you a hint about the person you're connecting it through?
Well, the thing is, I honestly reckon you could probably connect it through any of those guys. My big problem is that I do not know enough.
Oh my god, you could do
Kevin
this one with
Bacon.
this film as well!
What?
Bear in mind, I did not plan this. I literally just
Yeah.
pulled actors out of my arse, right?
Yeah.
You can connect this one through Crazy Stupid Love as well.
Okay, well, save that one until after I've made my guess.
Yeah.
Adam Sandler was in Anger Management with
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson was in A Few Good Men with Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, you could also do Adam Sandler was in Anger Management with Marisa Tomei, who is in Crazy Stupid Love with Kevin Bacon. This is the best you've done on any of these quizzes, you know. Okay, next one. Kate Beckinsale.
Well, she's a vampire and Kevin Bacon has lived forever, as we know by R.I.P.D.
I'm gonna live forever.
So she was in. I think you're going to have to go through Van Helsing.
Yes, that's the way I'm going.
Yeah. So that would be with Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, it's really obvious once you've got Hugh Jackman. Because he's in a very big franchise, isn't he, Hugh Jackman?
Yeah. He's in X-Men with Kevin Bacon
Yeah.
was in X-Men, yeah.
Kevin Bacon is the
Yeah.
villain in X-Men First Class.
That's it.
Which Wolverine has a teeny
Teeny
tiny
cameo.
one-line cameo in.
Yeah, which is
where Patrick
at
Stewart
last.
walks up to him and says, "Oh, we want to talk to you about joining a team," and
It's
he
not
goes,
Patrick
"Fuck
Stewart,
off."
is it?
It's James McAvoy and
McAvoy.
Michael Fassbender as Magneto.
Yeah.
This one was also saying you can actually do it through the remake of Total Recall, apparently, as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The remake of Total Recall is garbage.
Garbage. We might do it, actually.
You know what annoys me is someone posted it on a Cyberpunk fan group, on Facebook, and I was going, "Oh, this doesn't get enough love, this film. It's such a..." The remake. And then, like, the remake, there was
Do you know
legit,
what?
somebody went, "The remake is so much better than the original." I'm like, in what universe?
Do you know what? I'd like to, if we do the remake of Total Recall, it'd be nice to get someone on who likes it, because me and you both hate it, don't we?
Yeah, I think that's pretty safe to say.
Okay, last one, and it's time, ladies and gentlemen, for my contractually obligated once per episode Doctor Who mention. David Tennant.
David Tennant connects through Neil Patrick Harris via Doctor Who. Neil Patrick Harris was in Starship Troopers with Michael Ironside.
There's actually one step from Ironside to Bacon. I forgot about that.
Right.
And it's a film we've used already.
Yeah, Few Good Men.
It's not A Few Good Men.
I'm fairly certain he
Oh,
is.
is he in A Few Good
I
Men?
think he is. I think he's a military...
The Oracle of Bacon is only giving me this one link between Ironside and Bacon.
Wow. Okay.
It's a more modern Bacon film. It's not A Few Good Men. You can connect him through X-Men First Class.
Michael Ironside was never in X-Men?
Yes, he is. He's an X-Men First Class. He's a military general. He's only in one scene, but he's a military general.
I'll be honest, I've never seen X-Men First
You
Class.
could also have gone through the first of the recent Doctor Who spin-offs, specials.
Right.
David Tennant is in The Star Beast with Beep the Meep, who is voiced by Miriam Margolyes, who apparently was in a film called Balto with Kevin
I would
Bacon.
never have gotten that.
I wouldn't have got that one either, to be fair, because I've never heard of the film Balto.
No.
Gets around, though, Bacon does, doesn't he?
Yeah, the little man slut.
Gets around. Good actor. Good actor, Kevin Bacon. I feel like he's one of those actors who he's not sort of top tier, as in he's not the first name that pops in your head, but actually he's a reliably good performer, and he's been good in pretty much everything he's ever been in.
It's like Willem Dafoe. He's not like AAA Tom Cruise level, but...
Reliable as hell.
Yeah, reliable as hell. You put him in a film, you're like, this is going to be a great performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I quite like Kevin Bacon. Like me a bit O'Bake.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Rory got 4 out of 5 on that round. That's the best score he's had so far, percentage-wise. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after this commercial break. So we're back and we are talking about Crazy Stupid Love. This is a film I added to the list. I've seen this film counting this time, this is the 4th time I've seen it. So the reason I want to talk about this film is I like 95% of this movie.
I like Marisa Tomei.
And yes. And then I feel like it stumbles hard at the landing.
Oh, I'll be honest, I've never seen this film before. It's very good for the most part. That ending is garbage.
It's such a weird ending.
Yeah.
And you can make it even weirder by flipping the genders, but we'll get there. So, Crazy Stupid Love is basically one of those films where it's multiple storylines that eventually coalesce into you actually realise towards the end how they all tie together.
Yeah.
But you've got storyline 1 is Steve Carrel and Julianne Moore. And Julianne Moore is Steve Carell's wife, and she tells him she wants a divorce because she's been balling a different guy, David Lindhagen.
Yes.
And Steve Carell jumps out of a car.
Yes.
Then he meets Ryan Gosling's character, and Ryan Gosling is essentially playing a more cool version of Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
He's like a player, you know, he goes out to bars, he picks up chicks.
But he's not a comedy character in the way that Barney Stinson
is.
Obviously, half the stuff Barney Stinson does wouldn't actually work in reality.
Yes.
But I think what Ryan Gosling's character does, Jacob, in this, would work for the most part because it's not so exaggerated.
Yes, well, that's because Ryan Gosling is incredibly good looking and incredibly charming.
So is Neil Patrick Harris, to be
I don't
fair.
think but the difference is Neil Patrick Harris is gay, so he's not trying to pick up women in real life, whereas Ryan Gosling, I imagine, could easily pick up women in real life.
He's probably smashing left, right, and centre.
He's married now.
I don't know, actually. He might be in a relationship.
Oh, isn't Ryan Gosling married to Eva Mendes?
Maybe.
Anywho, and he sort of is like, I'm going to teach you how to be cool again to Steve Carell. Meanwhile, Steve Carell's 13-year-old son is head over heels in love with his babysitter, who's 17. The 17-year-old babysitter is in love with Steve Carell, who's in his 40s. And you've also got Emma Stone's character in the mix, she's got a boyfriend played by Josh Groban, and things just aren't really going so great there. And Ryan Gosling, in a scene quite early in the movie, makes it clear he's attracted to her. He sees her at the bar, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And for a while, for probably the first 2 acts of the film, these all feel like they're separate storylines.
Yeah, they don't really have a lot of cross-bleed. The closest connection we've had, actually, for anything to do with Emma Stone's story so far is that
she met Ryan Gosling.
She met Ryan Gosling once and then said no, left, and never came back to him.
Yeah, she disappears from the film for ages, doesn't she?
Yeah, because she's got her own issues where she's dating Josh Groban and thinks that he might propose because her friend suggests it.
Yeah.
Her friend appears at the bar one more time, but for a relatively pointless scene.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a funny ass line when she's like, "Come to the bar, the hot guy's here," and she's like, "No, I'm studying. You should be studying the general curve of his cock."
Yeah, but I think that was injected in to keep her relevant in the story because otherwise she has no point of being there at this moment.
It's a film about the breakdown of relationships, the beginning of new relationships, what's considered sexy and cool. And then exposing the artifice of that, because what you get for the first half is Ryan Gosling teaching Steve Carell how to be like him.
Yep.
And it's actually a really sexist attitude. He has that line, doesn't he, where he's like, the war between the sexes is over and we won.
Yeah, he said we won as soon as they started using pole dancing for exercise.
This then flips, is the point, in the second half of the film.
Yeah, it's actually quite a vapid lifestyle that Ryan Gosling... Jacob, should I say, Ryan Gosling himself leads in this film.
Yeah, I really like the bit when he goes on the date with Emma Stone and he thinks it's going to just be a random smash again. But she
basically asks him out rather than normally he's picking up chicks with. It doesn't matter. Hey, do you want to go back and bone? But he doesn't say it that way.
Yeah, he just says, "Let's get out of here."
Yeah, let's get out of here. That's it. The cool way of doing it, not the way that I would do it, because I'm not cool. But yeah, basically, she comes in after having had a negative from Josh Brolin. Josh Groban.
Different film, bro.
Slightly different actor.
Very different film.
But yeah, so she doesn't get the marriage proposal she expects. To be fair, he never suggested it was on the cards. She's whimsied that up herself. but is obviously disappointed that it's not come to pass. So she decides she's basically leaving him there. Oh, he leaves her because she goes, oh, I thought you were going to propose. And he's like, oh, I've got to reevaluate, which is a dick move on his part.
Yeah, I need to think about where we're going.
Yeah.
And she walks out on him after drinking a whole glass of gin.
Yeah, but, well, I mean, she thought they were on the climb somewhere, even if they weren't going to get engaged at this point, that it was on the cards. He's obviously thinking it's just a smash.
We were on a break.
So she goes to find Jacob at the bar, and she basically forces him to take her home.
Yeah.
Which he's not against because he still finds her hot, but basically she's, unlike normal, she's in control.
Yeah, and I really like the bit where he actually, when they're laying together and they're not going to have sex at this point, they're just talking, and he says, can you ask me something personal about myself?
Yeah, because he's
One
one of
no
his
one
roles.
ever has.
Yeah, well, yeah, and also, because, most people don't really care about that, they just want to smash him. But the other thing as well is one of his rules
It's not
for
to.
Carrel. Because he goes, when he first brings Steve Carrel over, he's like, I know about, what's his name, Hagen?
David Lindhagen.
Yeah, David Lindhagen.
Because everyone knows about David
Yeah,
Lindhagen.
it's like, ask me, I've never met you before. How'd you... To be fair, I like the response of, maybe you've been cheated on.
Oh, it's David Lindhagen smashing your wife too.
Yeah, it's like, no, it's because that's all you've been saying for the last 2 days.
To complete strangers.
Yeah, like, as if that's a pickup line or just to try and get empathy. Which is understandable when you've had a bad break like that, certainly after a long period of time. That kind of is your only story.
Yeah, of
and
course.
that's obviously not a good way to meet people, pick up people, if that was the jam. At any point, I think he was just looking for empathy.
Men are expected to and I don't want to get into a topic about reality, but
No.
men are expected to bounce back from something like that and not talk about it. Whereas I feel like it's different for women. But with men, you just look like a sad sack. If you're sitting around going, I've just found out my wife's cheated on me. I can't believe this.
If it was the other way round, he cheated on her and then dumped her and wanted a divorce. If she was sitting there crying to... Well, number one, she'd have friends to cry to.
That's the difference. She would have a whole group of girlfriends.
Yeah.
He's an asshole. Men are assholes.
It's just like, he wasn't good enough for you anyway. Babe.
Whereas
with him, he
reaches out to a friend,
and he actively loses the friend.
Yeah, because basically his wife, I can't remember his wife's name, but he's the father of the babysitter girl.
Yeah.
And he says, she says we have to choose between you and your wife, and
because my wife's picked your wife.
Yeah, I tried to choose you, but she said I was wrong, and I do hate that because that's the sort of bollocks I hate seeing in films.
Why can't you have separate friends?
What a henpecked fucking...
Yeah, why can't you have separate friends then?
Yeah, of course you can have separate friends.
Yeah, but
my God,
not according to this.
There is nothing more toxic than a couple where all the friends have to be.
Yeah, well, you can't be
part of
friends
the group.
And I'd understand if it was like another gender, but it's not. Like, it's not like he's seeing a girl behind his wife's back. It's a guy. It's Carrel. Yeah. Again, this isn't meant to be like pulling it in like, here's the reality of it, brah. It was more just a case of, I like the fact that this film tackles that. This man is a sad sack. But honestly, what other stories has he got to tell? And I think that's the positive message.
That's the
gets
biggest
from
thing
Jacob.
that's happened in his life.
Yeah, it is the biggest thing in his life.
Yeah.
And Jacob basically goes, look, it's fine that you've got this sad story,
But no one cares.
no one cares. What if you want to talk to people, if you want to get them to communicate with you, you need to ask them about them, not download all of your insecurities and problems onto them. Yeah, so I think that's what's interesting about this film is that it does tackle that theme.
Yeah.
And it does tackle it from every direction, barring the ending again.
We'll get to the ending.
It does tend to try and tackle that from multiple angles.
You know what I feel bad for in this film? David Lindhagen. David Lindhagen is bullied by nearly every character in this film.
There was one point I felt sorry for him because normally I wouldn't do. He's the other guy. He's the guy who broke up the marriage. He's still ploughing that.
So as he says in the film, he didn't mean to fall in love with a married woman.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that happened. He didn't mean for it to happen. He is not, as far as we know in the film, he is single.
Yeah, there's no
He doesn't have
suggestion that
anyone
he's
else.
taken, is there? He's actually just after a woman he fancies.
All he can do, at the end of the day, sexuality is a competition. That's literally evolutionary competition.
Yeah.
That's a thing in the animal kingdom,
And we are animals.
A new young lion comes into the pride and tries to fight off the older male lion sort of thing.
Yeah, to assert dominance. I just wanted to say, what I like about this film is that it explores a recovery, and I think this is kind of where the ending fails it a little bit, but it explores the recovery from a man who has spent his whole life in basic servitude to his wife, loves his wife, adores his wife, still loves her, and his family that he's had with her, and has to face the fact that he has nothing left. And I've not with kids, not actually married, but I've come out of a relationship, for a very long relationship, and you end up with, like him, you end up with nothing. And it's just expected to be like, well, just get up and move on, bro.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't just turn off feelings that way. And it explores him having to try and find sexuality again with more than the same person for a long period of time. I mean, she found that before they split. He's now having to find that with all the baggage attached.
Yeah.
With no financial support. He has to move into a tiny flat.
Yeah.
And he has to try and rebuild his life again. And I thought that was an interesting journey to explore.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting as well that they don't make Julianne Moore like some screaming harpy who's like awful. Yeah. Like, she recognises that she's made a mistake. She clearly regrets the mistake because she doesn't want to go in a permanent relationship with David Lindhardt.
No, I think he was just...
It's a moment of weakness. And she was flattered by the fact... Because there's a bit in it where Steve Carrel acknowledges, doesn't he, that he stopped trying in the relationship.
Well, you see him at the beginning, like everyone under the table wearing their nice posh brogues, etc. And she's still dressed in the high heels.
And he's got wearing the shitty trainers.
Yes, trainers that are worn to buggery as well. Yeah. They're not even like clean trainers.
And I honestly suspect, I don't get me wrong, I'm sure a lot of cheating happens purely because people are dicks, but I think a lot of cheating, when it's in long-term relationships, not always, I'm not saying it's right.
No, it's definitely not right.
But I think a lot of cheating, when you hear about like marriages where cheating's happened, I think a lot of it happens because people just let things slip. And I'm not going to say it's because they're lazy. Life is complicated. Life is busy. Life wears you down. And people take for granted. I certainly know my parents took each other for granted after a certain point.
Yeah.
Because you just kind of assume...
Well, you get comfortable.
Well, I've been married to this person for so long, they're always going to be there.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if, on our one date night a month that we get away from the children, it doesn't matter if I turn up in shitty trainers that are covered in mud.
Yeah.
She ain't going to care. One thing I noticed that was quite nice, she says to David Lindhagen, doesn't she? I think this is a very, just from, I'm not a woman, obviously, but talking to women, the thing that kind of seals it for her ending up sleeping with Lindhagen is he notices she's had a haircut.
Yeah, it's something so small and so...
But so important.
Yeah, it's inconsequential on a grand scale, but for her ego, for it to be noticed is important.
And I get it.
Yeah.
I've done things like... I'm a bloke and I've had haircuts before and no one mentions it at all.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit like, oh, no one even noticed.
Yeah. Well, trust me, if you do what I do, colour your hair blue and match it with the colour of your shoes, people fucking notice. I still get... At work, people, it's usually patients, but sometimes co-workers that, who work in completely different departments, who they see me like, oh, nice hair. It's nice to hear. I guarantee you I would not be getting that if my hair wasn't blue.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I also get judged negatively for having blue hair. People assume I'm what they call them, screaming leftists or something like that. It's like, clearly he glues himself onto roads to stop the pollution, and I'm not that.
We're recording this on a road right now that you're glued to. Can't you hear the traffic noise?
Yeah, I tell you for why, because it's something that this film gets slightly wrong, not hugely, just a smidge.
Men don't get complimented often.
No, but also, even if they are gorgeous, they don't normally get complimented. It's just they notice the change in the behaviours of women around them. But the main thing is when he dresses him well, so he dresses him more like Ryan Gosling is dressed. Not exactly the same, but more similar.
Yeah. More appropriate for his age,
yeah. A lot of those clothes are muted colours.
Yeah. The good thing about your age, and there's not many, so listen up, is you can rebuild your entire wardrobe with 16 items.
Yeah. But the thing is all of them are very stereotypical. They're white shirts with blue cross lines on it. A jumper over the top, a jacket, a sports jacket, all this sort of stuff. So everyone looks, and there is a point actually in this film where he's alone in the bar, without Jacob, and he's looking around at other men who are about his age, and they're all dressed very much the same. So
no, I noticed a lot of them were dressed much more schlubby. They were dressed like he was earlier in the film, where it's very clearly cheap clothing.
Right, not rich versions
like,
of the clothes.
A good example of this is in the scene where he first goes to meet Ryan Gosling at the shopping centre, the mall.
Yeah.
He is wearing the most hideous striped yellow polo shirt I have ever seen.
No.
Clearly,
this is a different scene then.
No, but what I'm saying is, a lot of people in the bar, I noticed, the ones who are his age, are dressed that way. Like when he looks at the bald guy in the bar.
No, I get that. They're all dressed in sort of more casual stuff. Yeah. But there's a scene where he's alone in the bar and he's looking around. There's other men chatting up women, and it's just little vignettes of them, and they are dressed very much similar to how he's dressed.
Yeah.
And that's probably why it's working. They're dressed better than the men at the bar who are in polo shirts.
Yeah. So this film has got some interesting cinematography in it, I thought.
This film looks nice. It's the colour palettes they choose. This is one of those films where they very much got onto the LUT brigade. But what they've chosen is very good because they've styled the costumes and everything else to match the lighting.
Yeah. I quite like the scene when Ryan Gosling takes Emma Stone to his house. The lighting is naturalistic, but it's not bright as such. It's got they're using shadow effectively.
Yeah. Also, it's slightly blue tinted, but not in the egregious way that it is in something like Man of Steel or something like that, where basically they dial it up to maximum. In this, it is slightly blue shaded, but it's a natural blue, and there's still plenty of other colours at play. The one shot that really grabbed me, there's one when Ryan Gosling first pulls Steve Carrel over in the bar to basically go, right, I'm going to show you how to do whatever. The shot of Ryan Gosling talking, he's in that double-breasted grey suit, which looks great. They're in chairs which are sort of grey-brown, and then behind him, the bar is bokeh'd out, it's slightly blurry, and it's grey, but with, like, uplighted, bright orange lighting.
Yeah.
So you get this pattern of, like, browns, greys, and oranges. And actually at the bar, it's very similar. There's not many striking blues, greens, reds. It's all in that same palette. And every single scene, certainly the ones where they had full control of the light, they picked their colour palettes quite strongly.
Yeah.
I like that. You could. This is one of those films that you could break down shots into 3 or 4 main colours.
Yeah.
Which I like. It has its place, and this film is probably that place.
Yeah. I think the strength of this film is it's got a pretty good sense of humour for most of the runtime, and there's a really good chemistry between Gosling and Carrel, and then again between Gosling and Emma Stone.
It's a surprising one with him and Carrel because of the age difference. You don't expect them to have, that bromance chemistry,
but they've got it. Yeah, and it feels realistic.
Yeah.
Some films feel forced. I thought Carrel had pretty good chemistry with Marisa Tomei as well. Yeah. I mean, Marisa Tomei is obviously playing a very large role in this. Like, I don't mean large as in her screen time. I mean, it's a big character who's very overacting because she's, let's be honest, she's basically nuts, is the gimmick.
Well, we've seen Marisa Tomei several times in different films. The new Spider-Man,
Wild Hogs,
things like that.
The Wrestler.
Yeah, and she's always...
she's fantastic, Marisa Tomei is.
But she's always like a softer sort of good character, like either a neutral good or a good character. In this, she's mental.
Yeah.
And she plays mental well.
The bit where she leaps on him is so funny.
Yeah. He found the one woman where downloading all of his problems turned her on.
Yeah. So let's talk about the problem the film has, because it does have one glaring problem that I'm surprised none of the reviews we delved into brought it up. One of these stories, and this is not an old film, this is from 2011, so you can't use the excuse of, it was the 1950s, things were different.
Yeah, and even then it would have been like...
It still would have been bad, but attitudes were different back then.
Of course.
This is modern enough that people should know better. One of the storylines is the 13-year-old son is in love with the 17-year-old babysitter. It's obviously an infatuation based entirely on physical appearance. Now, that's fine. I'm fine with that because we've all been there. We've all had teenage crushes, and they feel like they mean the whole world to you. But actually, once you grow up and you look back, you're like, that was just such a silly little thing.
But it's because your hormones are all over the place. And you're like, damn, this woman must love me because I fancy her.
Yeah.
And it happens the other way. In fact, it happens the other way in this film because she has a fancy on Steve Carell.
Yeah, so she has a fancy on Steve Carell.
She also catches the young boy early in the film
jerking off. Yeah, and you called it, didn't you? You were joking, and you went, "Oh, he's going to say I was doing it for you, baby."
Yeah.
And he actually does turn around and go, "You know, I think about you when I'm doing." And she's like, "Please stop."
Yeah.
The problem
is, cringe,
so here's the two problems. One is he won't take no for an answer. She tells him multiple times. Yeah. She even sends him a text saying, "You are making me uncomfortable."
Yes.
And he justifies it with, "I believe she's my soulmate."
Yeah.
Well, you're in dangerous territory there.
Yeah.
But let's even forgive that because he's a stupid kid.
Yeah.
Right?
We all make mistakes.
She takes, on the advice of a friend of hers, takes naked photos of herself to post to Steve Carell. Now, she ends up not posting them because before she can post them, her mum finds them and goes fucking mental.
Now, that would have been wrong. It wouldn't have been Carell's fault because he doesn't know any of this is going on.
Yeah.
But obviously, that would have been wrong. But again, from the fact that she is the underage girl, but she fancies someone above, who's older than her, you can understand that she has those feelings. It's so long as he doesn't, and he doesn't, to be fair. That was the one danger. I was like, please don't reciprocate. Please don't sleep with the girl and then go, oh, I've made a mistake. And thankfully, this film does not go there.
At the end of the film, and this is where I love the film up to this point.
Yeah.
It ends with a real cheesy, typical, guys giving a speech in front of a crowd ending, where the son is basically like, I don't believe in love anymore, I don't believe in science, and Steve Carell gets up and professes his undying love for Julianne Moore. And after this has happened, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, with no build-up to it, really, the babysitter girl has changed her mind.
Well, because she's inspired by the fact that, that the true love could exist, and so therefore the son could be correct.
So then the son comes up to her and he's like, I'm not going to keep chasing you because I'm going to wait a few years instead, because when I get older, I'm going to look exactly like my dad, and you fancy my dad. That's weird.
That's weird.
Even weirder.
You can bone me and think of my dad while we do it.
Even weirder, she then goes, oh, think of, I've got you a present that you can use while you wait the 4 years to catch up to her age or whatever. And she gives him, a 13-year-old boy, the naked photos of herself. Now, I know there's going to be people listening going, oh, I fucking love naked photos of a 17-year-old. And you can get them on the internet. He even openly admits earlier in the film that he's been watching porn, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does,
Which, to be fair, that was quite funny when she goes, do these child protection things even work? He goes, they work for me. Yeah. That was funny, to be fair. Like, this isn't the actor's fault. It's just an ill-conceived part of the script. Because, I'm sorry, you're 17, you're near enough of age, you are giving naked photos of yourself to an underage child, and what is annoying about this film is this film plays out like it's some sort of sweet thing.
Yeah, it's like sweet
Flip
and funny.
the
Isn't
genders.
It cute? And you're like,
flip the genders and have a 17-year-old boy giving pictures of his dong to a fucking 13-year-old girl. And of course, that's sick.
Yeah.
It's sick the other way too.
Yep.
And it is like, it's just, it puts such a damper on the ending of the film.
Yeah, because you're like, there is no justification for this ending. That you could have not done any of this ending, like this bit of the ending, the film would have wrapped up better. But, it's they want to pay off every story.
Yeah, because here's the other thing.
But this wasn't the payoff. The payoff should have been...
He gets over
it. Because I think you told me...
Well, because his mirrors Steve Carell, where Steve Carell is also like, I'll never give up chasing Julianne Moore.
Yeah.
That's also wrong.
Yeah.
That's not wrong in the sense it's not morally sick, like the paedophilia is.
No.
But it's just the wrong ending. What this should be is, and I realise that's not the Hollywood happy ending, but it should be them moving on.
Yeah.
It should be the kid going, I've learnt my lesson, you're older than me, you're not interested. That's the key thing here, is she has said no.
Yeah.
I'm going to move on. And Steve Carell should move on. He shouldn't go back to sleeping around. It should be, I've accepted that you're with David Lindhagen now.
It should be that he tells her at that thing, I love her, I will always love her, but I know that
we don't want to be together.
This has ended and it's time to move on.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that the love has to end. Therefore, their relationship will continue, not as a relationship, not as a romance, but it will continue as parents to their children in a healthier way.
Exactly.
But it's not. It's basically he's going to win her back.
Yeah.
And it will take. No, he's going to keep ramming at that before.
Yeah.
And the other thing as well that's really stupid about this film. Earlier in the film, when it turns out Marisa Tomei is the son's teacher.
Yeah.
And Marisa Tomei goes mental in front of him and reveals to the wife that
she's so funny in that scene.
Yeah, but. It turns out that Steve Carrel slept with at least 9 girls by this point, like having only ever slept with Julianne Moore up to their divorce. He's now slept with 9 women thanks to Jacob.
Yeah,
and Julianne Moore's like 9 girls. I can't. That's disgusting. 9 women. It's like, bitch, you don't get to fucking complain at this point. Like, you slept with someone else while you were married. Like,
I mean, she's in the wrong. I don't think the film pretends that she isn't in the wrong.
It doesn't defend him either, though. In fact,
no, because they're both in the wrong.
Yeah,
they're both in the wrong.
Is he in the wrong for ploughing when he's single?
Showing off about it, he's wrong for.
Did he show off?
Yeah, and he does immediately regret it, to be fair, because he turns around and belts to her, I've slept with no one, and he does immediately go, I shouldn't have told you that, I didn't mean to show off. So he understands that what he's done is wrong. I didn't realise
he was showing off. I thought he just slipped out because he doesn't know when to shut up.
It's bragging, though, isn't it? That's like me sitting there going, well, I've slept with this many women. These are the only reason to...
You've not slept with 9 women, have you?
Anywho... Yeah,
they call me Mr. Sheen.
For me personally, the ending doesn't quite work. What does work is the third act reveal at the start of the third act or end of the second act, depending on how you want to classify it, where when you realise that all the stories actually tie together.
Yeah.
That works so well for me.
Yeah.
Where they all, like, when Cal's there, he's going to surprise his wife, and then Jacob and Emma Stone walk in and realise that she's Steve Carell's daughter.
Yeah.
And there's that confusion. And then the big bold guy, unfortunately, I've seen that actor in loads of things.
Yeah, I've seen
and
him
I don't know. Yeah, he's always a bit part, isn't he?
Yeah, he's always like a guy next door.
Yeah, and he just charges in and spears Steve Carell. and then, it's when Kevin Bacon turns up. He's like, he just wanders in like, hey, you left your sweater in my car. And they're like, who the fuck are you? And he goes, I'm David Lindhagen. And Ryan Gosling just goes, David Lindhagen, and just takes his ring off.
Yeah, he takes her and he's like, okay.
And he's like, okay, and just walks up to him to deck him one.
He actually punches him as well,
yeah.
And it's like, it's not even his fight, but it's
and
like,
he says to him, you know how much... Yeah, he says, you know
it?
how much pain and suffering you caused my friend here.
Yeah.
And that's the real good bro bit of it, is even when they hate each other, Carell and Gosling have got each other's backs.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like that's real, like, bro thing. Like, I fall out with my friends sometimes, but I defend them.
Yeah.
Except you.
What have I done?
You're a piece of shit.
I'm probably the most moral friend you've got.
Yeah, but this is where you're mistaken. Moral and good are not the same thing.
I'm a moral good.
Moral and boring are the same thing.
No, they're not.
I'm
not beige.
But you're boring.
I'm not boring.
So, yeah, this is a weird film, basically. I enjoy the film. The ending just feels, to me personally, really misjudged.
It feels to me like this film had a really good trajectory. It was going on about basically recovery from basically the biggest loss of your life.
Yeah. I wonder if the studio forced him to slap a happy ending on
that was my concern, because a lot of this story is leading towards redemption and moving on. And then at the very end, it just suddenly... Because the thing is, the point where he could recover it is when he's got his wife blindfolded and he's trying to do a big romantic gesture for her.
And that's when Gosling
walks in. He ruins it by basically telling Gosling to piss off, you can't be with my daughter. Fucking David Lindenhagen comes in and gets smacked in the face and they have a big fight. And then there's the daughter porn from the girl next door. All of that comes along and basically completely destroys any ability for there to be a romantic reconnection.
Yeah.
And that's the point where it should have been, and that is, honestly...
And he even says to him, doesn't he, she's all yours, David.
Yeah, it's the point of no return.
Yeah.
There was, at that point, to him certainly, it felt like there was a way back.
Yeah.
After that night, after that day, as you say, she's all yours, Lindhagen, and it is the point of no return. How do you recover from that? Yeah. You've pissed off the daughter, you've pissed off the son, you've upset the wife, you've assaulted the boyfriend, and you've
alienated all your friends.
Alienated the friends and disgusted them over their daughter.
Yeah.
Like, you've got no real... And that's the thing, his walk off, it is the finale of that relationship.
Yeah, it's this isn't worth it anymore
Yeah,
sort of thing.
And it should have been his recovery of realising that he can still have a relationship with his family and moving on.
I love, in that bit where all the confusion's happening, I love that the dad of the babysitter pulls the windmill off of the thing and is brandishing it like he's going to use it as a weapon.
Yeah, that is
And you're
funny.
like, dude, what are you going to do with that?
I'll beat down your candy ass.
Yeah.
If it was The Rock, you'd be intimidated.
The guy looks
throwing a windmill at you.
The guy looks close enough to Stone Cold. I feel like he should have done a Stone Cold Stunner.
Yeah.
Stone Cold.
But that's the thing, Ryan Gosling is a Stone Cold star.
I mean, he's very charming. This is the most charming I've ever seen Gosling. I know people love him in The Notebook. I think he looks better in this.
Okay.
He's a bit older, a bit more rugged. He's better in Notebook once he grows the beard. But when he's proper baby face, I forgot how young he was in Notebook.
Yeah, I mean, there is a nearly 10-year difference between the two.
Yeah. He seems 13 years, I think. No, not 13, the other way.
2004 to 2011.
So that's
7
years. I went the wrong way.
Don't you always?
But yeah, he just, I mean, he is a very charming guy in it. It doesn't feel at all false that he's picking up all these girls. Like, you totally are like...
You buy it?
Yeah.
Of course you do.
Yeah, of course he's getting these girls. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And
fall for Ryan Gosling.
And even when Carrel gets them, it's not by doing exactly what Gosling does, which is good, because it wouldn't work for Carrel.
Well,
because Carrell's not bad looking, but he's a different type of good looking.
Well, that's what Gosling says. Is like, just don't mention your fan, blah, blah, blah. But he's like, you've got a different quality.
Yeah.
I've got... You, and basically, it's that you're
It's
more...
the bad boy thing.
Yeah, he's not
Gosling's
a bad
got
boy.
the bad boy thing going.
Yeah, and Carrel just doesn't.
No, because Carell's older and he's just got kind of features.
Yeah, he's got a kind of face, he's got kind of personality, so he can't really do the basically shut up and let's get going because he's not that kind of guy. And he tries it, doesn't he, initially on Marisa Tomei, and it completely
backfires
crumbles.
terribly, doesn't it?
Yeah, she's like, oh, so what do you do? What do you do? Oh, that's funny. I asked you first, but I asked you second.
Yeah. Are you really not going to tell me what you do?
Like, yeah.
At one point he says it's like, shut up or something, doesn't he?
Yeah.
You're like, no, buddy, you're doing it wrong.
But the reason he's doing it wrong is it's not natural to him.
Yeah. And this is what I've said before. You can't force yourself to behave unnaturally because people sense it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't really have much more to say about this movie.
No, I would watch it again. I enjoyed it. I think it's very good, except that ending, which I believe is on... I'd love to look it up, actually, and see if it was shoehorned in by the studio. It feels shoehorned on.
Yeah, it does.
And also, not only is it... I mean, it's even more disgusting as well if it is shoehorned in by the audience, by the studio, because that means the studio went... Let the girl give the little boy the photos of her naked.
But I'm sure this wasn't produced by Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, Weinstein Company was gone by this point. There's another Weinstein
Company
out there.
weren't gone by this point.
Eh?
Weinstein weren't gone by this point.
The company was.
Wasn't.
Were they not? I thought that was late 2000s that they...
No. Weinstein Company didn't go till about 2016.
Oh, yeah, because it was the Me Too movement, wasn't it, that got Weinstein.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. No, fair play.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like I said, I've seen it about 4 times now. I've enjoyed it every time.
Yeah.
But every time, that ending just feels...
Well, it's paedophilic.
It's like enjoying...
It's paedophilic, so you can't really enjoy that bit of the
Imagine
film.
enjoying a 3-course meal.
Yeah.
And the starter's perfect, the main is perfect, and then they bring out, like, fucking, I don't know, what's a shit dessert? Carrot cake for the dessert. And you're like, dude...
anything with mint in it.
For you, yeah. But don't give away your one weakness on fucking public radio, dipshit. Everyone knows how to kill you.
Krypton. It's Krypton.
Kryptonite.
Yes. I know Supermen's.
Ubermensch. Calm down, Nietzsche. Anyway, I think we're done for the day.
I think we are done for the day.
That was a second take on Crazy Stupid Love from 2011. Thank you for listening, everybody. If you'd like to hear more episodes, you can check out our entire back catalogue available on all good podcasting apps. We release new episodes of Second Take Cinema every Tuesday and Thursday. And you can also check out other show, VGMP, the Video Game Movie Podcast, where you can hear us talking about video game adaptations such as Street Fighter, Halo, bloody, I don't know, Detective
Can you really
Pikachu.
not think of any more video
I'm
game
drunk.
series?
I'm trying not to say the ones that I say every time.
Right, I see.
Detective Pikachu, Sonic the Hedgehog, etc., etc. You can also hear us talk about films that are tangentially related to video games,
Yes.
such as the awful comedy, in air quotes, Noobs.
Which I have mentioned on this.
Which the only lasting thing from Noobs is that it started our trend of saying Armageddon,
Yeah, and Frogger.
Frogger,
Frogger.
Armageddon.
Basically, that guy.
That guy, yeah, that
Guy.
dude.
Who also had the only good line in Joysticks.
Joysticks, yeah.
I am half as smart as you think I am.
Yeah, I am half as smart as you think I am. Maka, 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 maka.
He should be in better films.
Yeah. Well, he was in Breaking Bad at one point, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he does a lot of guest TV now. He's completely unrecognisable now. He's way older.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And we also covered things such as... I had one in my head and I've just forgotten it. But, well, we also cover some really weird things that I can almost guarantee you won't have heard of. So some real unheard gems. For example, are you familiar with Starcade? And no, I don't mean the WCW pay-per-view. Starcade.
Nobody knows that anyway.
They do. I mean, they know that more than they know the 1970s fucking game show.
The 1980s, and it ran for 4 seasons. So
where
it
he proclaims that 1970 was a good year but not a good score.
That is true. That is damn true.
And even weirder things like Japanese exclusive adaptations of like Tekken. Or Resident Evil animated films, or even Sega Hard Girls, where a grown man ejaculates in his Sega Saturn over and over and over again. That does not happen
in that series.
Oh, it totally does.
It does not happen in that series.
That's all, folks. We'll see you next time on Second Take Cinema.